you've got 90 minutes when our time is free. On the Music Relic Podcast with Mark, Lou, and Perry. So pull up a chair and have a cold one or two.
Welcome to episode 7 of the Music Relish Podcast. Tonight's show, we're going to discuss a great Porcupine Tree album in Absentia. Hope my buddies like it as much as I do. We'll have a one-hit wonder, and we'll be discussing a legendary ballroom, the Winterland Ballroom. Let's get to it. How you doing, guys?
Doing good.
Doing all right. How's it going, Mark?
It's going great. I love the hot. I love the heat. I'm just joking.
You mean like
so let's do it.
Mark as in Mark Smith?
Yeah.
Yeah, you've heard of him?
I've heard of him. I've heard of you, too. You're Perry Dedovitch.
I am.
You're Lou.
In certain circles, I'm famous. Or infamous, anyway.
Infamous or famous.
Yep.
Subscribe to us on YouTube.
If you like what you're hearing, click like, subscribe to us. We're also available on Facebook. And where else?
And all over. All over the interweb.
Just
Facebook, Anchor, and Google.
Just stand in the street. You'll hear us. Okay.
And YouTube.
Yep.
And YouTube.
Yep. All right.
And silliness is good, too. It's good for the soul, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Music discussion is great. Just ignores all the stuff going on today. Just talk about what you like. It's great. So anyway.
Mark, do you want to throw in a bit about Porcupine Tree before Lou and I get started on the review?
Yeah. So, last week I asked you guys, it was my turn, and I asked you to listen to an album in Absentia. Went nuts on which Porcupine Tree album to ask you to listen to.
Mm-hmm.
So before we do the reviews, I know there's a lot of people that don't know who they are, so I just want to do a quick rundown about them so people know where they're coming from. Porcupine Tree was formed in 1987. Really not formed, started by Steve Wilson. It was him doing everything. It was basically a fictional band. He thought it would be fun to act like he had this band Porcupine Tree, make people think that it's like a Spinal Tap thing. He started putting out cassettes. All his stuff, they started to sell, started to take off. So they started putting out regular albums. And that was their first phase, which was like a psychedelic space rock phase. By the second album, he started to bring in musicians. And those musicians were Steve Barbieri on keyboards, Colin Edward on bass, and Chris Matlin on drums. By the time they did Signify, he decided to make the band a full band. He decided to make that a full band album. So that was with that album, that's when Porcupine Tree became a band, a true band.
That was the first album?
No. So when he was using musicians to kind of fill out, they did a couple albums. One of them was called The Sky Moves Sideways in 1995. That got them on the radar with progressive music fans because this joke about progressive music became really serious. Steve was doing a great job. And
what joke about prog music or progressive music?
He was putting out cassettes under this band name Porcupine Tree, right. It's a fake band, and he didn't think it would go anywhere, and it took off.
Yeah.
So anyway, when they put out The Sky Moves Sideways, which has a 35-minute title track, a lot of Pink Floyd fans liked it, and this was after Pink Floyd stopped recording. It was mid-90s. So they were even labeled the Pink Floyd of the 90s. And that's kind of where they kind of came on my radar, but I didn't listen to them, but I heard about them. So with Signify, they became a true band recording. That's my second favorite album of theirs, by the way. That was in 1996. So that was their first phase. Then in 1998, they entered their second phase. Steve wanted to kind of like maybe appeal to more people. So they went into an alternative pop approach, and they put out an album called Stupid Dream, which was very well received, and it had a single called More Than This, and Don't Hate Me was on it, which is another one of my favorite songs. Very pop oriented in some songs. That trend continued when they did in 2000 they released Light Bulb Sun, and it was another album with combination. He still did some long songs, very dark songs. But there was a single on that album called Piano Lessons, which was very popish. The video, I cringe when I see it. It was that 90s alternative look, That album contained a song called Russia on Ice, another excellent dark song. But they could not crack America. So they did one tour of America. They lost their shirts. They were playing tiny places. Luckily, they got the interest of Lava Records, part of Atlantic Records. So in 2001, they signed with Lava Atlantic. That starts their third phase, which is called progressive metal. I don't like to call them that, but that's what they were labeled. So in 2002, they released the album we're going to talk about tonight, In Absentia. And it's got a really nice album cover. I mean, it's great, you know.
Pretty cool, yeah.
But anyway, so a couple things about this album. This was a big album for them. It was the U.S. They got to record at Avatar Studios in New York City. First time they were in the United States recording. They had a huge budget. Really worked out well for them. The tricky thing was 3 weeks prior to them coming to the U.S. to record, Chris Matlin, their drummer, left the band. He was not happy with the direction they were going in. So they contacted Gavin Harrison, and they really wanted him to be like a session drummer. They didn't intend to keep him. Gavin came from a totally different background. Lots of pop music. He toured with Iggy Pop, no pun intended. So he didn't play metal or progressive before he played with Porcupine Tree.
Really?
It was a total success when he came to America. First of all, Avatar has one of the best sounding rooms for drums. I just watched a documentary on the making of it, and it was just he had 2 weeks earmarked to do his drum tracks. He did them in less than a week, and they realized he fit in good with the band. Thank God he stayed. He's one of the best drummers in the world. So anyway, they did the album, and the musical direction, like I said, I hate to say progressive metal. It's more than that, but it was engineered by Paul Northfield, who worked with Rush, Queensryche, and Dream Theater, among many other bands. And, it came out like a bang. Like, it introduced many U.S. fans to Porcupine Tree. Not the first album I heard. Sat gave me another album. Right before the album came out, Wilson was friendly with Michael Eckerfield from Opeth, and he got into the music of Meshuggah and Opeth, and he produced an Opeth album, Blackwater Park. These bands were very heavy. Yeah. So they liked him. And so he was definitely moving away from the pop. The album itself, it has a loose concept on themes related to serial killers, youth gone wrong, and criticism of the modern world, which criticism of the modern world is a theme in many Porcupine Tree albums. Steve Wilson said that his mother was a lover of books about serial killers, true crime, so he read a lot of those books. And what he wanted to do was look into what fascinated him about serial killers, and I guess a lot of people, is what is missing in their soul to cause them to do the things they do, horrible things. So his personal favorite book was about a couple called the Wests in UK. I think they were in the 30s. They were a really bad serial killer. I mean, no serial killer is good, but it was a gruesome book. And his question was, like I said, he said he couldn't understand why they were so cruel, but was fascinated because he couldn't understand what happened to their soul, what happened to them. It kind of affected his plans for the album cover. The original artwork was old pictures of families from the 60s with the father's face torn out. So maybe these people had childhood trauma. Yeah, one of the ideas. And thank God
Wow.
So
it's always a nurture versus nature thing.
Yeah. So if you listen, like a lot of songs, you can hear that, but not all the songs are about murders. There's a couple songs, Sound of Music. That was about people not engaging with music the same way anymore. And this was 2001. We're still going through that. Heart Attack and a Lay-By. And that's actually a horrible end to a romantic story. It's about a man who had just a horrible fight with his partner. Went out, drank, whatever, and he was coming home to make up with her. And on the way home, he has a heart attack and dies and never makes it home. That's classic Steve Wilson. He said, I could never write a movie. It would be the most depressing movie ever. Then you got Collapse the Light into Earth, which was a requiem for 9/11. It was about a year after, that happened.
Now, how do you know these things?
There's a great documentary on the making of this album. And it's directed by the guy that did the album cover. And it's like, it just shows him in Avatar. It interviews him now. And it's fascinating. You got to really be into music to watch it. It's not like, you're seeing him try to get guitar sounds and everything. But it's funny is the song Trains, I was surprised in this interview, Trains, which I consider one of the best, they didn't like it. They did not like it. And on the first tour right after the album came out, they didn't even play it. The fans started wanting it, so they played it. Which is just one of those things with musicians, what you like, they don't like. It's very complicated, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But Steve brought up something really good, and it's what I like about the opening track, Darkest Eyes. It comes in blazing like a metal song. So you turn up the radio, and as he says in his own pompous style, it's a very simple riff. Anybody could have written that riff, you know? But after the main riff comes in, it goes into a very melodic acoustic guitars.
Well,
and,
let us review it.
Yeah.
So, because Lou has a lot of ideas, and I have a lot of ideas
Just
too.
one more thing on this, though. The album didn't sell well at all. It was kind of a dud when it came out. Lava promoted it, but maybe not the right way to the right people. They were probably promoting it to the Matchbox 20 crowd because that was their big artist. Ain't going to work. But since it came out, it sold every year. 20 years on. It came out in 2002. So 20 years on, it's still selling. You got new generations of kids buying it. And I think that's keeping the interest in Porcupine Tree and Steve Wilson going. And even though he considers it their peak, their artistic peak, and he said, we painted ourselves into a corner. That's probably why he kind of let the band go. But they had more success with Fear of a Blank Planet, which is the album that Sat gave me, which was what got me into them. But this album, for me, is my favorite. And I'm done with my horrible history. Okay, go ahead, guys.
The album is long.
Do you want to go, Lou?
Yeah, just went.
Really? You have a bottle?
It's an hour long. Yeah. Yep.
It's 68 minutes and 20 seconds long. There's 12 songs in the album.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta tell you, I listened to it about 3 times, Mark. It's really good. It's in its form, it's really good. It's really well recorded and mixed. Just the way you can hear the keyboards, and there's some things there that aren't even all that necessarily loud, but you can hear where they are.
Yeah.
Overall, I liked it. I mean, I really did. It was one of the things I liked about it most is that I was getting some aspects of metal to it, but I wouldn't say I wouldn't call them a heavy metal band, or even so much like you said, prog metal. There's some pop in there. I'm hearing a lot of influences, some weird influences popping up on some of the stuff. Like the first couple songs, I'm hearing a lot of Peter Gabriel, early Genesis in there. I even heard some, and also that riff in the beginning was the Blackest Eyes. I thought Max Webster, the Canadian band.
Yeah.
For a second, I thought Max Webster. They were contemporaries of Rush.
Well, let me play the riff, Lou, and let me just play the opening riff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Slow bed. Play this in a car loud.
That is a great riff.
It is a great riff.
Yeah.
How's he rated as a guitar player? Is he considered in the circles of well-known?
Not a virtuoso. He did he had to do, and he played very good guitar. He writes good songs on guitar. He was much better in Porcupine Tree. When he went solo, he got his side guitars to play all the solos. So, but yeah, he was excellent.
But Steve Wilson is one of those guitar players on that.
That's all him on that album. He plays all the
him.
Guitar. Every Porcupine Tree album, he plays all the guitar.
I'm hearing some pop Rush. I like the vocal. I like the vocal because it's not threatening. Even though the music can be kind of heavy, he's got it's like a kind of a lighter voice. It's not this, it's not a powerhouse. He knows how to record it, obviously. The melodies were great. I liked the way he's layering his voice and stuff. On some of these choruses, this can sound kind of weird. It's like Duncan. It almost sounds like a Duncan Sheik. It's all I don't know. You know the song "I'm Barely Breathing." There's a certain feel to that. I'm getting on a couple of those choruses early on in the album. I think it's a good thing. There was not a knock or anything like that. I said, "What does that sound like? Something familiar." So there's elements of accessibility to the music. So this was their attempt to make not necessarily a more commercial album, but this was a musical change for them, wasn't it?
Yeah.
that one song you're talking about, Trains. That there's a break in there. It's like English banjo folk, and I thought that was the intro into the next song, but it's not. It's in that song. But another thing, I think it's a good guitar solo. I'm hearing early Genesis in there, and really, really cool though. But
Yeah.
that's 2 songs into it. That's really neat.
What I like in Trains is how
my favorite song. My favorite song is I have a couple of favorites. Lips of Ashes. That's a favorite. Also, I like The Creator has a master tape. That's a wacky song. That's a weirdest song on the album, I think. And Prodigal. Those 2 were standout tracks.
Creator is a master tape that Gavin said it exhausted him recording the drums on that, and he said it's brutal to play live, really brutal.
Yeah. The drumming is solid. I mean, the drumming is solid throughout.
Yeah, and he played.
They're one of those bands where you think you got to feel it.
Yeah.
So he never played much like odd tempo. He must have had some kind of. He played in the basement. Whether he was. He might not have played in the band, but I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, obviously, but he went from pop. He played, I think, for a couple pop singers in England that I knew of. I just can't remember the names. I guess he was able to use his chops, and then after Porcupine Tree, he became a full-fledged member of King Crimson, so he's accepted.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right. Well deserved, well earned. Other a bunch of good stuff in there. I just think it was very eclectic. Now, there's one song, it's kind of funny, and it is called, the song Prodigal. Blue Oyster Cult should cover that damn song. Hey, can you play some of that, Perry? The vocal, Buck Dharma could sing that song. I know I'm going on again, but that's one thing of all the songs I noticed, that was the most accessible, straightforward rock song of the bunch. Was that a single?
I don't have Prodigal here.
Okay. It's good. It's great. It's a great riff, but I said, wow, that was it has a mid-70s rock sound to it.
Yeah.
Really good.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah. I think I know Trains was a single, but I think that Sound of Music should have been a single. He plays a live solo and the audience goes nuts. Anything else on it?
Anything else?
Oh, Perry, what do you think? I gave a handful of songs I thought were kind of ones I
thought. I'm going song number 1, Blackest Eyes. I like. In fact, we queued it up for Lou before, so let me just carry on with it. And this is kind of what Mark said as well. There it is. What happened? Now it's English.
Yeah.
Right?
It's like a pop
magical melodies.
There's the thing. It went from from that. It sounded very metal to me. Then suddenly it's soft English. I like it. Now the next song is called Prodigal.
English.
Very English, yeah.
The next
song's called Prodigal.
No, it's called Trains is the next song on the album, but the one I was mentioning
all right. So I heard it. I must have heard it out of sequence then. So I'll go with Prodigal next. And I did not like the drums on Prodigal. I thought it was the complete wrong beat for that song, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. I just thought the beat was wrong. The slide guitar was great. It reminded me a little bit of Led Zeppelin even. Yeah. And the melodies, what a great melody on the song. To me, the drum beat kind of threw me on that song. I thought it could have been a little more laid back, but who am I?
The vocal melodies on that's classic Steve Wilson, those vocal melodies. Yeah.
Yeah, yep, absolutely.
BOC should cover it.
Yeah.
You said you do have it. You said you do have it queued?
No, I don't have that one, Prodigal. No. I have the next one queued up though. It's called Wedding Nails.
It's called Trains. You got this thing all out of sequence.
Yeah, I know, but that's the way I heard it. Yeah. So
okay. You had a special copy, didn't you?
I did, yeah. I had the YouTube copy.
So you're not going to play Lips and Assholes?
No.
Lips and Assholes.
Wedding Nails. The guitar riffs are great.
A brutal song.
And even it reminded me a little bit of Tubular Bells, a little bit at the ending. It had a great ending, the song.
great riffs in there too.
Yeah, Wedding Nails. I'm going to cue it up here, see if we can come up with it, all right? Wow, reminiscent of a lot, right? Now that's a killer beat for this song. That's a killer riff and a killer beat.
Yep. All right,
That
no
one's
solid.
called Wedding
I think
Nails.
it's so dark at the end with those sound effects, and that's got to be serial killer influence to my, This was around the time of Buffalo Bill and all that stuff, so,
What a naughty boy he was.
Yeah.
And what's the
listening to the lyrics, I wasn't picking up any particular theme. I wasn't reading them. Sometimes if you read them, and sometimes in the context of music, I wasn't really necessarily picking up on any discernible theme. Maybe I'm not getting the point.
I don't think he was singing necessarily about a serial killer doing what he did, but it was songs about things that have happened to people to maybe cause them to...
Right, there's like stories behind there, allusions too,
And everyone interprets, maybe that's why Mark saw that documentary where he's explaining what these songs mean, because I have no idea what they mean. That's cool too. What's this song? It's called...
Oh, check it out. With Wedding Nails, I noticed I wrote something down. I thought the song was over, but it comes back.
Right. That's the ending I was talking about. Yeah.
That caught me because it seemed fairly long.
Yeah. Yep.
And at that point I said, wow. And that ending I wrote down and says, it's like a Vincent Price thing going on. It's almost like a horror movie.
Yeah. I said it reminded me of Tubular Bells in a strange sense.
Or totally Tubular Bells.
Yep.
That was the sequel. That was the second record.
What's the song that
Yeah, and after that Bluister Cultish song you think has the wrong drums on it. No,
Prodigal,
Prodigal.
Yep. What's the song Dreamer has a
The Creator.
Dreamer has a water buy
Creator
or something?
has a master tape.
Creator,
that's the song.
That one. I couldn't read my
That's
own
actually the song that exhausts Gavin when they played it live.
Reminded me a little bit of Nine Inch Nails, a little bit.
Yep.
It's like progressive reggae in the beginning. It's got this kind of almost like Rush did that kind of thing too.
Yeah.
And then when he does this one fast riff, it's muddy but not. It's very articulate, but it's a weird sound. It's just I couldn't hum it out. Just like a bunch of notes. Somebody's doing on the guitar.
And then this song that I have listed next, it's a
Trains.
It's a great song. It's a great song. It's a really good soft song with a big ending. It has some banjo in it.
And this is the second song in the album, right?
Yes.
And you're right running order.
Nice melody, and I like the way they blend the vocals in too.
It's got a very soft voice.
Yeah.
The railway
Nice.
That's
nice.
Typical Richard Barbieri, the keyboardist. He doesn't do solos. He does textures. He's very good that way.
Yeah.
There's a lot of texture.
Which it's a good way to play keyboards as opposed to the Bon Jovi,
They showed in the documentary Tracking Days, he was the only one in the studio, and he's adding all these sound effects. He's just there by himself, doing it all. It was recorded in digital, which was not as common in 2002.
See, I wanted to ask you that because I wanted to ask you if that's a tape recording or digital, because to me it sounds digital.
So when they first went to Avatar, when they were recording Gavin Harrison's drums, they were going to do it in analog, and the rest of the album was going to go analog. They ordered like 20 reels of 2-inch tape, which is expensive.
Mm-hmm.
But they had the chance to record digital. I can't remember the system they used, and they honestly did a comparison analog digital, and they said the digital was better. And sometimes, it depends on where it's recorded. It's all about the engineer, and Paul Northfield knew
depends
what he was
on a
doing.
lot of things.
So
yeah.
yes,
it has warmth to it.
Yeah.
They run everything runs through tubes, and then they I was thinking too. The previous song has the Heart Attack and a Lay-By. I was hearing Alan Parsons in that. And Alan Parsons filled that, and also I forgot. Anyway, but yes, that was an influence I picked up on there. But I wasn't I'm not getting like I don't like as far as the metal aspect. I wouldn't know who to lean to.
Well, you got he had just
they might resemble like besides maybe some Rush in there, but not on like excessive.
I think what happened is he was into Meshuggah.
So it's unique.
He was into Opeth. He was friends with the singer of Opeth. Opeth is actually a really good band. They've stopped being the Cookie Monster vocals. They're actually turned into a good progressive band. But I think that it rubbed off on him and made him heavier. But they could never be like those bands. So this album just reflected their heavier approach. But, his songwriting will just shine through the way it is, So, and just for a point of reference, if you guys want to hear what they sounded like pop, give a listen to Light Bulb Sun, the previous album. And there's a song on there called, I should remember all these songs, but actually string arrangements on that album were done by Dave Gregory of XTC. And that's a good example. It's a very English-sounding pop album. It still has some long songs.
He was the great guitar player in XTC.
Yeah. So
he did string. Yeah. He did strings.
He did string arrangements. That's an excellent album. That I didn't like their earlier stuff initially, and I heard that. Yeah, it's good. It's really good. So give Light Bulb Sun a listen sometime.
Sure.
Yep. So the next song is called "Strip the Soul."
Oh, I'm glad you're playing that one.
I don't have it here.
Oh, you just said you're going to play it.
I'm looking at the teleprompter. It's it reminds me a little bit of Nine Inch Nails, a little bit of Led Zeppelin. I even hear a little bit of U2 in there.
I was going to say the same thing. To me, it sounds it sounds like "Bullet the Blue Sky" by U2 almost.
Yep.
If U2 had a little more of like an edge to them at this point, but that's funny. I wrote U2 prog on it. Is my description of it.
And "Strip the Soul."
The song lost me at the end, though. There's something.
The keyboard sound to me I like the keyboard sound. It reminded me of "No Quarter" by Led Zeppelin, which is one of my favorite Led Zeppelin songs.
I kind of got it here. I don't know if you can hear it.
So, so the next song is called Mark. Is this song called "Dot 3"?
Yes, I think that's the song that Lou mentioned about a little reggae in the beginning, with the bass coming in. Yeah.
No. Okay. No. That one, I was the creator has a massive.
Oh, okay.
That one seems to have a little.
To me, that song is very English. That song "Dot 3."
Very theatrical. Could be in a movie.
Well, it has like a bass groove pulse in the beginning.
Yeah.
I thought it was an instrumental, but it's not. There's a vocal
at the end.
Thing in there. Not at the end. Yeah.
Now I've got this song queued up. It's called "Lips of Ashes."
Lips of Ashes.
Love that intro.
You actually got this one.
This has great vocal melodies.
It's my favorite song on the whole album.
Here's the thing. I was going to tell you about the vocals, that it's a very ethereal song.
Yeah.
Right?
Sounds Asian.
I hear a little bit of Yes in there.
David Crosby.
Lou, we're on the same wavelength. I was going to say CSN and Y. I hear a little bit
absolutely,
of that. The way they blended those vocals in there.
So Lou, very astute, because Steve Wilson did say in the documentary when he was getting the vocal harmonies on these later records together, he was influenced by CSNY and Beach Boys. So good catch.
Beach Boys. Cool. That's my favorite song on the whole album. I love that intro. It's exotic sounding. It's very dreamy. I find the whole thing mostly relaxing. Early Genesis, but the vocals. I said David Crosby could sing that. And there's backups, but that's what he hit. That's what he went for. He certainly got it. Great song.
Yep.
I'm pleasantly surprised. I like this album as much as I do.
The Sound of Muzak
should have been a hit single.
The hills are alive.
Very 90s sounding when you first hear it. Almost sounds like a grunge song when it first starts.
Duncan Sheik.
Yeah.
You're in a Duncan Sheik chorus in this one.
Yeah. And the vocals are great. And at times it reminds me of Yes. And I like the fact that these guys, Steve Wilson, he wears his influence on his sleeves. And that's a great thing.
This one sounded pretty accessible to me too. Like I said, like you don't think of prog singles. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like, you can't tap your foot. Even though they do a lot of off-time stuff, you can.
You remember K-Rock in New York, Lou and Perry? the station at Howard Stern. I could hear that song on K-Rock when they had that kind of music they were playing. You know, you got it queued up.
So the next song is a creepy.
Oh,
no,
okay.
I don't have any more to queue up. The next song is a creepy song. It's called Gravity Eyelids.
Mm-hmm.
I hear a little bit of Pink Floyd in there. Nice chord changes, but it's a creepy little song.
Yeah.
I wrote down unsettling.
Well, now you know the serial killer thing.
Well, yeah. Now you think about it. Now you really know the theme. I didn't read much about the history of the album.
I have the next song. I have one more queued up. It's the next song that I have on my list, even though it's out of sequence.
Wait, on the last song? All right.
Yeah.
Oh, I heard that already, right? What were we saying, Lou?
On Gravity Eyelids, did you say you sounded grunge on, you heard grunge
no,
on that, or was that no?
No, I heard a little Pink Floyd.
Okay.
I thought it was a creepy song. And
I heard Pacific
like the chord
Northwest
changes.
grunge.
See, on Sound of Music, I hear, listen, I have the intro queued up. Ready? Back in, like, grunge had acoustic style songs, you know, and that's
That was
no,
Gravity
that was Sound of
Eyelids?
Music. I was backing up there. I just wanted to play that. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Got a good chorus on it.
Yeah. So some of it reminds me of Led Zeppelin. Sometimes it reminds me of Led Zeppelin because it's big on riffs.
Yeah. Trains. Trains was always a Led Zeppelin song
this,
to me. It sounded, like Page playing acoustic, Yeah.
Now, what's the song? Something about By the
Heart
Lay-By?
Attack and a Lay-By. That's the sad song about someone going home to make up to their girlfriend and they had a heart attack.
It's a soft song. Yeah, it's a good song. Yep. And I like those high vocals.
Yeah.
There are a lot of high vocals in there, which is
That
pretty
was
cool.
That was very related to their psychedelic phase. It could have been on one of their first albums.
No, I think the last song I have is Collapse Light into the Earth.
Yeah, that's their Requiem for 9/11. Collapse.
That's a piano. It's a nice piano song. It's a good song.
And it goes into some great vocal melodies as well.
Yeah. Yep.
I hear some McCartney piano in there on the end, too.
You hear many things, yeah.
There's like some John or Paul.
So overall, the production on this record is unbelievably great. Steve Wilson.
Paul Northfield, great engineer.
Great production on this. Everything sounds nicely blended.
He was given a lot of cash.
I enjoyed it.
Have fun. His first experience at a big studio. He was like a kid in a candy store, but he didn't ruin it. He was very wise with it. Yep.
I enjoyed it a lot.
Good.
Yep.
I'm glad. And just a little coda there. After this album, they did three more albums. Dead Wing, Fear of a Blank Planet, which was their big hit, and The Incident, and then they went on hiatus, and they're back together. They have a new album called, that's it. And I'm seeing them next month at Radio City Music Hall. Can't wait. Yeah.
Okay. So what's next on the agenda since we're through with Porcupine Tree?
Yeah, and I hit the microphone too many times.
It is this week's One Hit Wonder. With a cool little story. And now a little correction from last week. Last week's One Hit Wonder was part of the novelty song thing was called I'm a Nut. I kept calling the artist Larry Pullen. It is not Larry. It is Leroy Pullen. I apologize to the Pullen family.
Okay.
And before we start, and along the line, since we're talking about kind of like 60s garage rock, rest in peace, Judith Durham from the Seekers. She passed away the other day.
Really?
Yep.
They're Australian, I believe, right?
I think they were. Yep. Georgie Girl. Great song. I'll never find another you.
I always like that. I've seen a lot of videos of them playing live.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, so this week's One Hit Wonder it's a one-hit wonder. And the band is called the Castaways from the Twin Cities, Minnesota. What are the Twin Cities in Minnesota? What are they called?
Minneapolis, St. Paul.
You got it. They're called the Castaways, and the song is Liar, Liar. One-hit wonder from, 1965. It was number 12 on the Billboard Hot 100. It's a great song.
Want to hear a little bit of it before you go on?
Well, yeah, let's hear. Yeah, why not? Why not?
Now, is that a girl singing?
No, it is not.
No.
It is not. It was a four-man band. It's a guy. It's one of the guitar players. That is a classic 60s. That is just garage rock.
Absolutely.
If you needed a definition of garage rock, of many, that was one that would just be up there with their other greats.
Yeah.
So their only hit single, actually, was number 12 in the Billboard, 65. It was written by two guys in the band, James Donna, who was, I think, the keyboard player, and Dennis Craswell was the drummer. So yeah, they did a follow up it was a little regional hit, I guess maybe where they're from, but I only count one hit wonders. It's got to be national. It's got everyone's got to have heard it.
Yep.
All right.
I heard the song on the radio as a young boy. Yep.
Well, Larry, I heard all the time. I thought the same thing. I thought it was a band with a girl in it. Their follow up single was called "Goodbye Babe," released sometime in the '60s. Nothing. They didn't never put out an album. Well, they put out a series of singles throughout the '60s, which didn't do anything. So they did a greatest hits album in '99, but that's really not. So they never really put out an album. This was the Castaways album.
What was its highest charting?
Number 12 in the U.S. Billboard. That's the only one I saw. 12. I didn't see Canada. I like to think it was number 1 in Canada, but probably not.
Mm-hmm.
The members were Denny Craswell drums, Jim Dunn on keyboards. The guitar players, the guy that sang the high falsetto part is Robert Falschow. The other guitar player is the late Roy Hensley. And Dick Roby on bass guitar. He sang the lower part. So he sang, you listen to the first, he sings the lower, and the other guy, the guitar player, sings the falsetto.
There was a nifty little guitar solo in there too. Maybe we can play it.
Yeah. Oh, it's and the keyboard's classic. I don't know what kind of keyboard that was. A Farfisa, maybe.
Yeah, it kind of sounds like a Farfisa to me.
Yeah. Now the song's got a nice little history because it was featured in Good Morning Vietnam, Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, and Married to the Okay, did you? Yeah. Okay. Did you see Married to the Mob? Debbie Harry does a cover of it in there. But they did an appearance in a movie in 1967 called It's a Bikini World. It's a beach movie. I think it's the only one that was directed by a woman. And evidently it had some feminist themes. The girl, the female lead's competing with the male and probably eat some surf things, whatever. But in the movie was an actor named Robert George Pickett. Have you ever heard of Robert George Pickett? His nickname was Boris. So Robert. Mm-hmm. So he was the Bobby Boris Pickett, the thing, the Monster Mash from last week's novelty song. So he was in the movie. Tommy Kirk, who was in Son of Flubber, and I think he won the Oscar for that. Yeah. And one of the women that played Gidget, Deborah Wally. But the musical groups that were cool, there were the Gentrys. Remember the Gentrys? Keep on dancing. Keep on. The Animals did We Got to Get Out of This Place. They performed in it. And Pat and Lolly Vegas, you know who they were. They were two brothers. They became Redbone.
Oh.
So they formed two of them musicians. I think they were Mexican and American. They were. I think they called them Redbone is a Cajun term for a mixed race person. So that was their thing, So but then. So it was a thing. Come and Get Your Love. Was that them?
That was a big hit. Yeah.
So they became Redbone, and the Castaways sang it too. Also, the Toys were in it. Remember the band called Toys, an all-girl group from Jamaica, Queens?
No.
Ever hear the song "A Lover's Concerto"?
No.
Yes.
That's the name of that song?
Yes. It's based on an 18th century composition. It was called Minuet in G major, and that's where they use the music.
It has that kind of feel. Richard Thompson probably covered it.
That one came out in 65. Yeah, so that was it. They were truly a one-hit wonder, and I think it's cool that they only put out singles. Because,
let's play a little bit more of it. Oh, by the way, the single comes in less than 2 minutes.
Even better.
The AM single is like a minute 45.
How long is the letter by the Box Tops? It's less than that. It's like a minute 20.
Maybe, yeah.
So this is probably
Well,
up there with some. That'd be a great category. Shortest rock song.
Let's see if we can get the guitar solo in here. That's a great solo.
I thought that was a woman.
There's that girl singing again.
You know, the scene in Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels where this song is in is an incredible bar fight. And you know how Guy Ritchie, when he directs, he has those weird scenes with 3D imaging. So you see like beer mugs coming down, but just before it's a guy's head, it stops, and then like they do like a 3D motion. Yeah, it's a perfect bar fight scene.
Wow. Yeah, yep.
Yeah.
That's what's cool about music like that. Is that, it pops up in places. Louis and I were driving in the car the other day, and we heard that Statler Brothers song. Watching shadows on the wall doesn't bother me at all.
One of the most
Louis,
disturbing part of a movie.
Pulp Fiction. I said, Louis, remember Pulp Fiction? He goes, oh yeah, this was in Pulp Fiction. So as we're going through a light, some guy's crossing. I said, well, I got to run this guy over because it's Marcellus Wallace, and he's going to recognize us. But it's just the way they play songs like that, and the fact that they're eternal. They really are.
Yeah.
I mean.
And that was one of those. That's one of those groups where I knew the song, but I didn't know that the group was called the Castaways.
No, I didn't either.
So they're from Minneapolis, St. Paul.
Yep. Now they were inducted into the Iowa Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I don't know why. Maybe one of them was from Iowa. Maybe that song was just big in Iowa. They used it on the football team.
It's a Midwestern thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Minnesota.
Yeah,
that was a good one.
Well, I hope you like that one.
I did.
And
yep.
I'm a sucker for a garage rock song. Always will be.
Now I can look it up online because I know the group that did it. That's great.
The other night I was. Sometimes I fall asleep watching television.
Every night for me.
Who doesn't?
Right. So I'm laying there, right, and I look up and I just open my eyes. And I look at the television, and I'm looking at, and it says Bob Weir. I'm like, yeah, I'll watch something on Bob Weir. It was Barbed Wire, a movie with Pam Anderson.
Wow.
So it was easy for me to, not have my glasses on and go Bob Weir, Barbed Wire. So needless to say, I didn't watch the Pam Anderson
Bobby Weir,
movie.
he's sexy. Damn.
He's acting.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
what do we got next?
Lou, do you want? Well, you know what? I have something too, Lou. You mentioned a novelty song last week, right?
Yeah.
And let me just play a little bit of this novelty song that you spoke of.
Ooh, cool.
And this is the B side of the song.
All right.
It's the flip side to "They're Coming to Take Me Away." Haha.
Just as creepy.
It was the B side was all backwards. Kind of sounds Russian.
Me too.
We can hear all the satanic messages in it.
So, yeah.
Wow. I should
kill them.
I should have put my mask on for that,
Yeah.
Yeah. But the flip side to the B side to "Come and Take Me Away" is the whole song.
That's great.
In reverse.
That's great.
Yep.
Now, I sent it to you guys last night.
Yeah.
You did. You sent it. Yeah.
I listened to it. I read the lyrics. This stuff is sick. Mark, I don't know why that didn't scare me more.
It scared the crap out of me. And then I started playing, but it's kind of like the bird is a word. It gets in your head. And you can't get out.
Yeah.
So I was playing it on my phone, and my son goes, "Just shut it off, Dad." I'm like, "No, no."
It's an earwig. Yeah.
Yeah, but also, in the realm of mental health, you can't write those lyrics. That's a song you really couldn't write.
And it's a funny farm with the nice trees.
Right.
Here come the men with the white coats, and what are they playing? They're knitting things or something. Everyone's calm.
Yeah.
Wow.
But but it was novelty.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It was novelty also, and the No No song by Ringo. That we didn't mention that one. The no-no song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which I think he didn't want to do that.
Was it Harry Nielsen pressured him to do it or talked him into doing it or something?
No, was that Hoyt Axton? It was Hoyt Axton.
Hoyt Axton wrote that song?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, because I read about one of those Laurel Canyon books. Mark, you know who Hoyt Axton was,
Yeah,
right?
Gremlins.
Right, exactly. He was in another movie where his gut split open. It wasn't Gremlins. It was with Robert Urich, some species movie, endangered lethal species.
Yeah, I
Pretty good
remember
movie though, but his gut. Yeah, he ends up. Anyway, but he was called like a vampire of Laurel Canyon. I couldn't picture. He seemed like one of those Uncle Cowboy types, like Don Williams. But he'd be carousing the Laurel Canyon hills in search of a party. Pretty cool.
So, Lou, you have a story about the Winterland Ballroom?
Yeah, I do. I mean, the Winterland Ballroom was one of those classic rock venues, and I was thinking how many I think I've been to, venues that I've been to that could be considered like you were there, and there's not a whole lot. I'm not a big
Where is the Winterland Ballroom?
It was in San Francisco, California. But like I've been to Madison Square Garden, the Beacon Theater, the old Passaic Theater, the Capitol Theater in Passaic, New Jersey was a good theater, Perry. You've been there.
I've been there.
Mark, did you ever get to go there?
Yeah.
I loved it.
Okay, yeah. I saw Blow
Great acoustics in that theater.
Yeah. 3,000 seats.
Yep, that's enough. But I've never been to Madison Square Garden. I've never been to Nassau Coliseum. I don't consider stadiums. That's a giant bowl.
I'll tell you something real quick.
No, it's a giant bowl with TV screens. Yeah.
They have to blow you away with volume.
About Nassau Coliseum. We grew up with Meadowlands, which was an antiseptic, terrible arena. When you go to Nassau Coliseum, it's almost in a residential neighborhood. When you park in the parking lot, you see a CVS across the street. When you go in there, it's total 70s. It's even now, like it's on. I went there 2 years ago. Totally 70s. Like you feel like
I'm glad it's still there.
It's smaller than the Meadowlands. It's definitely smaller than MSG. So it's not cozy. It's an arena, but it's an old-fashioned hockey arena. So it's a cool place. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, anyway, no, that's what I was saying. Like, I mean, people have been to like Scott McLean from Milk Crates and Turntables podcast. Check them out. He talked about the Boston Gardens. So like there's different places all throughout the country, but the Winterland Ballroom, it was originally an ice skating rink built in the 30s. You could apparently you could convert it into an entertainment area, like I guess like in the round type thing maybe. It was on the corner of Post Street and Steiner Street in San Francisco. Bill Graham, the legendary concert promoter, Bill Graham, eventually turned it into a music venue in 1971, and it became a music venue thereafter. He would rent it out before that. So it was available. So what he did, I think in 66, he rented it out for many shows, but one was the Jefferson Airplane with the Paul Butterfield Blues Band. And he also had the Fillmore Auditorium, the Fillmore West, where that was like an overflow with things that couldn't hold at the bigger places they play Winterland. It was originally called the New Dreamland Auditorium, which sounded familiar. I thought maybe someone had a live album called that. But they hosted Ice Follies opera. There was boxing matches. There were all kinds of stuff. Actually, it opened in 1928. So Bill Graham, it's in 71 to 78, it was Bill Graham. But amongst other things, like on New Year's Eve shows, the Tubes and Flo and Eddie played there. I'm going to give a list of artists that have played there. And these are rock acts. I mean, I'll admit Bruce Springsteen, the Rolling Stones, Jay Giles, The Who, Black Sabbath, James Gang, Mahogany Rush.
Frank Marino.
Frank Marino, Mahogany Rush, yeah. Quicksilver Messenger Service, UFO, REO Speedwagon, Queen, Slade, Boston, Cream played there, yes, Fleetwood Mac, Kiss, The Doors, Hendrix, Steppenwolf, Leonard Skinner, Styx, Van Morrison, the Allman Brothers, Grateful Dead owned the place. The band, of course, Big Brother and the Holding Company, Jethro Tull, Pink Floyd played there. 10 years after, Rush, ELO, David Bowie, Genesis, Santana, Jefferson Airplane, Traffic, Golden Earring, Grand Funk, Humble Pie, Bob Seger, Sex Pistols, ELP, Sha Na Na, Loggins and Messina, Deep Purple, Journey. I mean, It's huge. Spirit play there. Frank Zappa and the Mothers, Foghat, Elvis Costello. I got this right off of Wikipedia, actually. I'm reading my phone. Led Zeppelin did the first performance of Whole Lotta Love there.
And Grateful Dead, right?
So it's
did they film
everyone who played there?
Did they film everything like at the Capitol Theater? They had their own video system for recording all the shows.
I don't know if I didn't see where they recorded shows, but they filmed, obviously they did film movies there. The Sex Pistols did their last show there in January of 78.
That's where that was.
Yeah.
That infamous. You feel you've been cheated.
Yeah, that was at Winterland.
Was at the Winterland.
Yep. Friend Comes Alive recorded. Parts of Friend Comes Alive were recorded at Winterland. I thought it was this outdoor thing in Brazil. It just sounded like there was 1 million people, but
no.
Did you know
at the
that?
Garden.
Okay.
Some was at
Okay. The concert films. Sean and I did one. Kiss did Kissology Volume 1.
I have that.
Concert film.
Don't know what's
the
on
Sex
that.
Pistols. There was the Filth and the Fury, or the Filth and the Filthier, or something. Allmans did a live album there. Big Brother with Janice. Cream Wheels of Fire recorded there. It's mistakenly attributed to another venue. I forgot what it was, but it was that. ELO did a live album. Hendrix. Loggins and Messina did a live album there. Bruce did parts of Bruce Springsteen's live 75 to 78 are from the Winterland. But the band did the last.
Just going to
Waltz
ask you
there.
that. Is that
The
where
classic? The classic.
I was just going to ask you that too.
Right.
That was at the Winterland.
That was
Ballroom.
at the Winterland Ballroom on Thanksgiving Day, 1976. So it closed 2 years later. So they closed on a New Year's Eve of years later. But the band recorded. I mean, that's considered one of the greatest concert movies of all time. I agree. There's some.
In fact, Robbie Robinson before the show had his Stratocaster dipped in bronze paint.
Yeah.
For the show.
Well, you know who closed the theater down, right?
He played very well that night. Well, the Grateful Dead. They did a marathon show. The Grateful Dead played. New Year's Eve.
They came on at 12 midnight.
79.
Yeah, Bill Graham was in a giant joint that came down to the stage, and they came out and they played They played 5 hours. They played till 5 a.m. I have the whole show on DVD. They played 3 full sets. And then they served breakfast to everybody after the show. So it's cool.
At the show. And
we're losing.
On that same day.
Wow.
We're losing audio.
We're losing who?
Can you hear him?
Really?
Yeah. He just came back in.
I'm
just
good.
try the little thing in the back of your mic. Make sure it's tight. Yeah.
Okay. I hear you. Yep.
Am I good? Okay.
So,
New Riders of the Purple Sage.
Winterland Ballroom. So it existed for what?
As a music venue from 71 to 1928 as the ice rink and
that's what I was going to ask.
Venue,
from 71 to 79?
Yeah. New Year's Day, 79 it closed.
Okay.
Panama Red was there.
Yes.
I think.
New Riders of the Purple Sage.
How are we doing? Is that better?
Panama, yeah. Lou, your microphone's cutting in and out. Maybe there's a loose connection in the back.
Panama Red.
Okay.
Yeah.
My record button's still going.
Panama Red. Something
so that was pretty much that was the Winterland Ball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now it's apartment buildings. Isn't that terrible? Yeah.
So,
I mean, you're living above a spot.
Yeah.
Really?
You're living above a spot that just had all that history happen. Even the last waltz alone. I mean,
that's progress.
Cream played all those musicians that got up there and just burned the place, and that's just So if you go out to San Francisco, you go sightseeing and nothing's there probably.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never been there except the airport. But this is where the Winterland was, and it's someone's getting their mail.
Yeah, the Capitol Theater in Passaic is gone.
Yeah.
Right, or maybe there's a little thing on the sidewalk there that says former side of the Winterland Ballroom or something, right? A placard.
Just like
the
on
sidewalk.
the studio that Bruce recorded in.
At the closing of the Winterland on the New Year's Eve, it was the Grateful Dead, the New Riders of the Purple Sage, and there was another band that played there.
Yeah.
They're not on the DVD. Your DVD is just the Dead closed. It was the Blues Brothers. The Blues Brothers. The Blue.
Yeah, it's just the Dead set. I know who the other band.
Who was the other band?
Rubber Biscuit. I would think so.
You're kidding.
It's not the Blues Brothers without Steve Cropper and Duck Dunn.
Steve Cropper was there.
Is that Steve Jordan
guys?
on drums? I think.
And since
Duck Dunn,
since the Dead didn't come on until midnight, they had to have music for a long time. So you had probably 2 full concerts before they came on. And when they count down to midnight, the guy on the PA saying Happy New Year is Dan Aykroyd. So it's Happy New Year, and he's just going great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And Perry, the concert was
That was a
5
great
hours.
gig, yeah.
Okay.
You better feed me after that. I'm going to be starving.
The dead set was 5 hours.